Hey, it's Rich, the Louisiana hobby guy. Today is going to be part two of my laser review, the second laser review that I'm doing, and it is going to be on the Ortur LM2 Pro S2 LU2-4 LF laser module, LF standing for long focus. But before we get into that, I just wanted to make a quick comment. I still have 13 days left on the giveaway for the Diwali portable laser. So I'll put a link down in the description below. And all you have to do is come over here. I would suggest you log in with Facebook because, I'm getting about 40 or 50 bounced emails every day. People aren't putting their email address in correctly, or their server is rejecting the email from a script. So I would suggest that you log in with Facebook. So all you have to do is log in, agree to the rules of the contest, which are up here. Here's the long version. And just a click. Visit me on Instagram. You get 2 entries for that. Visit me on Facebook. You get an entry for that. Tweet a message. You get 2 entries for that. So it's really easy. And you could do this every day. Even though these gray out after you do them today, tomorrow they'll be all lit up again. You could do it all over again. So far, we've got 8,600 entries in the contest for this free laser. So I wanted to bring that up real quick. And I also wanted to, before we get into the review, I also wanted to talk about my supporters. So if you send, now over here on my discussion board, this is where the credit is. If you go to start here, and thank you to my supporters. Over here, you're going to see up at the top here, these are all my Patreon supporters. And at the bottom are all of my one-time donors. And some of them are more than one-time donors. So this is where I give recognition over here on the discussion board, the forum. And if any of you are donors and you want to have a link to your business or whatever it might be, along with the donation, let me know. I'll put the link here. This page gets a lot of views. So, that I really appreciate those donations, that come in. They help this channel grow. They help me to buy supplies. They keep me from working my part-time job in my semi-retirement. So this is where I give the recognition, and I'm saying this because when I get a donation from PayPal, for instance, it gives me your name and it gives me your address, but it doesn't give me your email address. So I don't know who to send a thank you to, and that's why I posted up over here. So I just wanted to make a brief comment on that and go over to the laser giveaway. So today we're going to sum up. I've had this Ortur Laser Master 2 Pro S2 version 10 for well over a month now. I got it back in early December. I've probably put 50 or 60 hours of burn time on it. And I'm going to go through pretty much everything pretty quickly. So don't worry, it's not going to be one of those long videos. At least I hope it's not anyway. But I am going to cover everything. So if you're in the market for a laser engraver, that's the reason that I'm doing this. Plus, I'm giving them away. Now, this one, I'm not giving this one away because I paid $529 for it. You can see up here, last purchase November 24th. But all of the future ones that I've got, and let's see, the next one is going to be the Atom Stock M40. So is going to be February's laser giveaway. And then we have the Longer Ray 5. That's going to be March's giveaway. Then we have the Laser Storm L5. That's going to be April's giveaway. And we have another clone of the Atom Stack. I have another clone of the Atom Stack coming in as well. That'll be April's giveaway. So those are the lasers that are upcoming, and there's probably more on the way. I've been contacted by a few other people, a few other manufacturers, and I say sure because I can test it, I can evaluate it, I can answer questions on that particular model, and I get questions on all types of models. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do them, and then I'm going to give them to you guys in the form of a raffle, but not this one. So now, the one thing I want you to notice here this, I'm going to give you the things I like and the things that I don't like, all throughout the video rather than doing it at the end. So here I paid $529.99 for it, right? But then the next day I found it for $432 on AliExpress in Ortur's store, in Ortur outlet store. So I think they need to change that. I don't think you should get a discount for buying it from one website or the other. I don't think that's good business. That's just me. I also purchased this adapter, this manual adapter where you can raise and lower the laser module by turning the screw. And this is probably one of the best things that I've ever purchased for a laser, because it just makes focusing the laser so much easier. I mean, I really like this, and I'd like to have this on every model, every laser that I use. And I probably will buy this for other lasers and just drill out the holes to match. Another thing I do have, and I already had, was the YRR, the laser rotary roller from Ortur. And, it's the same as any other roller. All they are is a stepper motor and, a couple of little metal parts and a couple of little, a belt and timing gear. It's no big deal. Shouldn't be $139.99. And of course, look what I find here, $59.99 on AliExpress. So, do your shopping is pretty much what I'm going to tell you if you want to buy this, okay? And again, I think that's just bad business. So this is what comes in the box, and I'll show it to you in a minute. But it's really a very, very easy assembly. The only thing, I had it together in 10 minutes. The only thing that I couldn't figure out was these pieces here with the new drive chain. So I did have to go online and look at a build video, and it's an excellent build video that I found. I'm going to put a link for that down in the description as well. We're not going to do the build video here today. I'm just going to go through the review of the laser itself. This, is this an upgrade? Emergency stop switch, flame alarm, flame detector, all, gimmicks, if you ask me. They're all gimmicks. I mean, the emergency stop button, well, I can just press the reset or the power button, stops it. Same thing. The flame detector, I covered that up with, that didn't work on the second burn. So it was turning off the laser. So I covered it with a piece of electrical tape. I'm not telling you to do that, but that's what I had to do. So this kind of gimmicky stuff right here. I would have preferred the old style where you had the fourth leg over here. This way you could, the 3D printed legs for the Ortur were fantastic because you'd set it in and like snap it down into it. And they work great. You could pick it up with the wasteboard and everything. This one here has got that odd piece where it uses the controller as a leg, and I don't particularly like that. But it's okay. They did include some little angle brackets where you can mount it. This is as far as I'll get with the unboxing. I opened the box, looked inside. Yeah, okay. Let's see what happened. I got a surprise. Look at this beautiful manual. Oh, it must be 60 pages. And wait a second while I file this. Because I read through this thing and it's garbage, okay? So here we go. This is it right here. I mean, it's just so simple to put together. It's like any other laser engraver. The X-axis is completely built. You have 4 other pieces that you screw together with a couple angle brackets. Put the controller on. I mean, I'm going to put a link to the assembly build if you want to see that, but anybody can assemble these things. Okay, it was just those couple little parts that I'd never seen before that I had a problem with. This I have a big problem with right here. This is one of my pet peeves. This is a socket sucker. I hate these. I should say I despise these power supplies because you have to have an extension cord to use them. Otherwise, you block your electrical outlet. You can only plug one thing in. So I did pick up a pack of these. I'll put a link down below on Amazon. And I think you get like 8 of them for a few bucks. And that gets it off the wall so that you can plug other things into the same plug. You know, when you're using a power strip or electrical outlet, this takes up 2 outlets. So I have a bunch of these in my drawer, and I use a couple of them in the house as well. So the first thing I do is I always take things apart and clean them. And this is the back of the motherboard, and this is the first thing I always inspect are the boards. This one looks like it's robotic, so robotic built, which I like. That's good, because I couldn't find any cold solders on here. And all I did was spray this down. I took apart all the wiring, sprayed this down with some contact cleaner, sprayed all of the connectors with contact cleaner to make sure I've got good contact with everything, because, you know, when these come from the factory, they usually have some kind of oil coating on them, and that's not good for the connection. So I always clean everything, all of the connectors. And this was, you know, 25 minutes later. Really, this took 20 to 25 minutes to build. Now, the only thing I didn't like was the wiring coming around here. It was laying on the table. So what I did was I went and got a negative wire from the excess wiring that my son had left over from building out the shop here, from doing the electrical here. And I took a piece of the black wire and I just connected it over here to the laser module in a vertical position, and I connected it over on this side in a vertical position, and now it bends with the laser. It keeps the wiring up in the air, out of the way, and I'm happy. So what I did was I used twist ties, and I found a hole over here, twist tied them in a vertical position, and that works like a charm. So another thing that I do when I get a new laser is, and actually I do this probably once every 2 months if the laser is in active use, I go through and I check all of the nuts, bolts, you know, grub screws, eccentric nuts, all that stuff, to make sure that everything is tight. And the grub screws on this one is a very special tool that I just happen to have in one of my tool kits. Most people are not going to have it. This grub screw was loose. Now, granted, it was only a quarter of a turn loose, or less, maybe an eighth of a turn. So it really wasn't a big deal, but, you know, it should have been tight. So this grub screw right here was loose. This screw was loose. And the eccentric nut took about a quarter of a turn, and, you know, to get that one right. So you want to be careful when you tighten these. So when you tighten the eccentric nuts on the bottom that balance out the gantry, you want to make sure that it's tight enough where nothing moves, but it's loose enough where if you lift the laser to a 45-degree angle, the gantry is going to slowly move to the back on its own without any help from you. You don't want it to move quickly, just slowly back to the back. And then, of course, the same thing goes with the other axis. So if you lift it up on the left side, you want to make sure the laser module moves slowly to the other side. It's got to be free and unrestricted, but not a quick, you know, slam down to the other side. And that's how you adjust the eccentric nuts. This one did need both, 2 eccentric nuts, one on the right side, one on the gantry, needed to be tightened because they were far too loose. So I went ahead and did that. Now, they talk about this newly upgraded laser head. Let's see, the LU4 0.08 by 0.15. Not quite what I got. I got, under the microscope with a digital software reader, I got 0.25 by 0.10. So I'm not quite sure where they got this number from, this 0.08 by 0.15, but it wasn't anywhere close to what I got, and I had it perfectly focused. I ran 11 lines, changing the focus just a little bit at a time, and the smallest number I got was 0.25 by 0.10. So not quite sure I can believe that either. And we covered this guy already. So the first thing I did was, actually the first thing I did was lay it on some cardboard, did some tests with it. Then I got some plywood from the crate that I got my CO2 in, and I laid it down on the plywood, and I did my burn of my wasteboard grid. It came out good. You know, it did a good job. Laser was perfectly focused. Now, one thing about the air assist on this, and I did connect this to my air assist, is that it's like a CO2 air assist, where it blows straight down onto the workspace. So when it blows straight down, the dust and the soot comes straight back up. Now, I kind of like the 3D printed ones better because they usually have a pointer in a 45-degree angle. So when the air is blowing out at the 45-degree angle, it's blowing it toward the back. All the soot and the debris gets blown toward the back. This is just like the CO2, where everything blows back up toward the laser. Now, I did clean this, and this here was after about 4 hours of use. And I was expecting to be some debris on the inside. But when I took off the steel air assist, I was surprised that there was nothing on the lens. And I checked that too. I got my lint-free cloth and my lens cleaner, and I wet the cloth, put it onto the lens, and turned the whole module back and forth to clean it. And when I took it off, I used a white cloth. It was perfectly clean. So nothing got on the lens. So I guess that's okay. You can come and, you know, clean this once a month or whatever. Not a big deal. As long as it doesn't go back on the lens, you know, I'm happy. Now, one thing I did notice is that their air assist is smaller than most normal air assists. I believe it was the outside diameter was 4 millimeters, and the inside diameter of my standard air assist was 4 millimeters. So I slipped it inside the tube here and then just put a piece of electrical tape on it. And this is a little gadget from my old air assist pump, which was an aquarium, a commercial aquarium pump. And you could hook up a bunch of different ones to it. So I used this one. And here you can see that pump in the background on the left over there. That now I don't use that anymore. I have a ultra quiet California Air Tools, and I run that at about 6 or 7 psi, and it works just so much better. It's actually quieter than the old aquarium pump, if you can believe that, and it doesn't run quite as often. The aquarium pump runs 24/7. The California Air Tools pump, once it builds up enough pressure, it holds that air in a tank, and it only runs maybe once every 5 or 10 minutes for just a couple minutes. So I went ahead and burned my wasteboard grid, and came out nice. There was one little spot right over here that lightburn left out, right there. Just a little spot, maybe about 3 millimeters or so. And it's kind of interesting because it came back and did it later, you know, but I was just curious why it would leave that spot right there. But anyhow, so then I decided that I would build a camera. I ordered some 2020 extrusion off of Amazon and a couple of plates to hold it. And I got a 8 megapixel camera, and I had the screws and the nuts laying around from my 3D printer. So I used those, printed a little holder for the camera, and this worked out really nice. So now I've got the camera on this machine as well. So this machine is, you know, pretty well set up. It's got the air assist, it's got the camera, it's got the drag chain, and this over here, this little piece right here, this is a regulator. So, you know, you turn it to the right, slows down the air, turn it to the left, brings it back up again. I like to use the regulator on the air compressor. Then I added this honeycomb bed that I've been using. And all of these things that I talk about, I'm going to have links in the description. This way you don't have to say, where'd you get the bed? Where'd you get the air compressor? Where'd you get this? So I'll have all those links down below in the description. So I've got the honeycomb bed that I use for cutting, because I do a lot of cutting. I do a lot of modeling and stuff like that. The honeycomb pins and the honeycomb bed. The pins are free in my online store. You can buy them for $0, so they're free. They're just some pins that I designed about 2 years ago, and they work perfectly in any honeycomb bed. So you can download that at engraveandcutfiles.com, which will also be in the description. Okay, so this was the first thing that I ran. I grabbed a piece of basswood, and I ran this universal test. Now, this was without the air assist, and I used 1.5 millimeter basswood. This was on the Pro model. The speed was 2,000 millimeters per minute and 100% power. And the cut was 100% power and 120 millimeters per minute. And these are my baseline numbers that I use to test any 5-watt diode laser. So I didn't quite get the gradient that I wanted over here on the engraving test. It cut off started at 15%, and I don't know if I can't really see it well in the picture, but in real life it went up to about 85%. So from 85 to 15 was the usable area for the engraving, which is not bad, okay? Not bad at all. And it did just these right here as far as cutting completely through, and then this is one pass now. But the parabolic cuts, the flex cuts, whatever you want to call them, came out real well. So all of these flex cuts, bend really well. They bend up to about 90 degrees with no problem. So it did those flex cuts real nice. And I have this universal test card in my forum, which you can find the link below. And you can download this for free as well in the download sections. It's a members only download section, but the forum is free. So here's a closer look at that. And you could see here, you have some gradient at 15%. I wouldn't call that useful. I would say 20% starts the usefulness right here and runs up to about 80%. Now, you could say, well, if you did it at 3,000, you'd have, all the way up to 100. But 2,000 is my baseline that I run on all the 5-watt diodes. And I've gotten from 5 to 90% on some of them. So I think on the ComGrow, I got from 10 to 90, if I'm not mistaken. Now, here's the difference with and without air assist. So on the top, you'll see with. On the bottom, excuse me. See with air assist on the bottom, no air assist on the top. The bottom cut everything out. The top, no, didn't cut anything out. And this was done at the same speed and power. Now, I want you to notice that what I said earlier about the size of the dot, and my measurement was 0.25 by 0.10. You can certainly see it here. You see how it didn't cut through on this axis, but it did on this one? So that's the difference. So whenever you do your test cut, you have to do a square, rectangle, circle, something like that. So you can see what the difference is, and you have to tune into the axis you have the good cut on. So that's where you set it to whatever setting it was that did the good cut. I mean the bad cut. You have to get through on the bad side. Excuse me. So when you have a clean cut all the way around, that's the setting that you need. And this was the first project that I did on it. Oops, I went too far there. This is the first project I did, which is an 8-layer cross. And it did a fine job. So absolutely a fine job. Every layer was perfect. Every layer fit perfect. Every edge was perfect. I was very happy with that. These are my little boxes. I laser engrave my boxes, and it did a fine job with that. This is very, very small print and a very small flag here. So any of the products that I send out, I put in these little specialty boxes and I engrave a couple sides on it. Came out real good. This was the very first engraving that I did. It came out wonderful. And I did this one at 3,000 speed. This one was 3,000 speed, 70% power in offset fill. And here's my box again. This is only 4 inches, this whole box here. So these I did some Christmas tags. I did, we had 61 gifts. I had to do 61 of these tags. And then when I got these first 4 done, I stopped the job, and I restarted it again, putting people's names and a little picture of a Christmas tree on some and a picture of Santa on others. And they came out really, really fabulous. And this was a commission job that I had since October. This is a engraving of a wood carving that was done in 1511. And I ordered the lithograph. This was done, ordered by an attorney friend of mine that I've done 10 or 12 pieces for already. He's really into carved objects. And then I engrave those objects, frame them, and give them to him, sell them to him. So I ordered this lithograph and a couple other lithographs from a museum in Rome back in October. And they came in December. So what I did was I photographed the lithograph, brought it into my graphics program. I digitized it. I did some enhancements in there. Then I brought it into lightburn, and I enhanced it in lightburn for laser engraving. And it came out fabulous. I mean, really fabulous. This is like a carbon copy of the engraving itself. Don't pay attention to this line over here. That's a reflection from the light. So is this up here, and so is this washed out spot over here. But this came out superb. And if you look at the bottom there, that was just beautiful. Came out wonderful. So he was very happy with it, by the way. I made one for him, and then I made another one for me. So now I have one as well. This is one of my favorite features on the machine. Now, you see a lot of machines today that come with the shield that's like right in front of the aluminum module. It comes all the way down to 2 millimeters off the workspace. And I really don't like those. I don't know who came up with those short focus designs, but don't like them at all. On this one, you have the ability to turn the 2 nuts and loosen them and slide the shield up and down in the grooves on the aluminum on the side. And I really, really like this shield. I don't know how much more I can say about it, but you can adjust it to any height. You don't have to worry about when you're cutting, lowering it down a little more, because you can always raise the shield. On a lot of other lasers, you can't. So you can't lower your focus to do cutting. Because if you do, it's going to hit the pieces as you go. So I really like this design. Everybody should pick this up. And another thing I like is that they are using a collimating lens. So that is something good. You know, doesn't do a whole lot of good with a single diode laser, but it does make the dot smaller. Materials. Let's talk about materials for a minute. Plywood, it did great. Fabric, great. Wood, it did great. Plastic, I don't do. Glass. Oh, Ortur came out with this new product now. It's a sheet of colored paper, and you put it into the sink, dip it in water, and the color slides off of the sheet. And then you can just wrap it around the glass, smooth it out, let it dry a little bit, you know, hit it with a hairdryer or something like that. And it works fantastic. You can buy that on Amazon as well. I just bought some of those. So yeah, glass, it works great. Paper, fantastic on paper. Metal, okay, painted metal, yeah, does good on painted metal. Does good on anodized aluminum. I just got an order from some serial numbers for vehicles at a local shipyard. That'll be an upcoming video. So yeah, it does good on anodized aluminum as well. And I'm sorry if I'm sort of losing my voice here as I go. You know, I'm still getting over this COVID thing. It just doesn't want to go away. And you know, a lot of people say it takes a lot of time. So my voice is kind of coming and going lately. I apologize for that. Stone. Okay, slate. It did a marvelous job. It actually overburned the slate, so I had to reduce my numbers a little bit. Not quite sure why it did that. The Comgrow did that too. I've never had that happen before where it overburned it and discolored it. But acrylic did a fantastic job on the acrylic. I made 3 acrylic signs. They came out perfect. The engraving I don't really cut acrylic. I'll cut the acrylic on the CO2. I don't cut it with the diode lasers just because they're not meant for that. These are diode lasers. They're engravers. They're not cutters. I just don't. I don't do it anymore. Phone cases, it does good. Food, I don't know. I don't do food. Although I think about doing some bread. Ceramic tile or painted tile. Painted tile, it did very well on. Stainless steel, didn't do anything at all. I don't know what kind of steel these people, are using in China where they get it to mark so easily without even painting it. But I can tell you that this Zippo, this is 302 stainless steel, you ain't going to mark anything on here. You will never engrave steel. You'll never engrave metal because it just doesn't do that. What it can do is it can mark it. Now, I do have some other things, some other tools that are just bare metal. And with a little tempera paint, I was able to put a nice black marking on those. So, yeah, it can mark metal, certain metals, but other metals, not so much. Plywood does great. Thin leather, well, did a good job on this. I thought it did a wonderful job. Actually, I used the Comgrow on this hat. I stand corrected. But, I did do leather on it. I did my first leather hat on it, and it did a fantastic job. Engraving speed. All of this advertising stuff is just that. It's advertising. Fast engraving speed. Well, I'm not quite sure what they're meaning by that. Because, it says OLM2 Pro, size 380 by 322 millimeters. That's the same as the other side. Fastest engraving speed, 2 hours, 56 minutes for the Ortur, 5 hours, 5 minutes for the others. Well, you can't be comparing apples to apples if you have two different times. So if you're engraving at 5,000 millimeters per minute, the time that it's going to take to do that is going to be the same on any machine. So I don't quite know, that's a time that you're giving it. 5,000 millimeters per minute. They have to be exactly the same. But yet they say here in the advertising, you can do it 3 hours on their machine. That would take 5 hours on another machine, comparing apples to oranges. It's just not good. They have a bad marketing department. All of these companies do. All of these diode laser companies have a bad marketing department. So here was a starfighter that I decided to make. I actually redesigned this, and let's see, this one was the T65, I think. Yeah, this is the T65 X-Wing, the Rogue Fighter Squadron. I did a custom logo for it. And I was testing the engraving and the cutting here, and it cut like a champ. I mean, no problem. This was 100 millimeters per minute at 85% power, and this is the result. Smooth as silk. Everything came out perfect. This I was a little disappointed by. Well, no, I should say I'm not really disappointed by it. I tested the output on this, and this is the LU2-4LF that comes with the model that I bought. This is my laser. And I was disappointed at first, and then I brought it to a friend of mine's shop about 5 miles from here. And he ran the same test on his analog machine. And he came up with 5.321. So I found out that my machine, or my little toy machine, is a full watt off. So after going over to his shop and testing it over there, I was like, okay, good deal. 5.32 watts. That's perfect, because they're telling me that it's 4.5 to 5.5 watts. So I love that, 5.3. I will say that the Comgrow came in a little bit higher, came in at 4.45. So it did have a little bit more power than the Ortur. But still, 4.3 plus 1, which is what my meter is off, comes out to 5.328 watts, which is right. They claim 4.5 to 5.5. So that's good. I'm glad to see that. All right, let's talk accuracy now. So this is a video of the grid that I made. This was the very first burn that I did, was on the cardboard. I burned a grid. And the first test that I did, I didn't quite line up the circle properly, so it went off and it burned the cardboard. But now, this time, I'm going to play this video, and I'm going to line this up perfectly. And bear with me for a moment, because I want to make sure this is lined up perfectly, because this is a review, and we have to be fair with this. So I'm going to take my time here and make sure that I have it in the right spot. And you're watching this live now. So, and I bumped the table, but fortunately nothing moved. So now I'm going to go over and just hit start. I put my graphic in the center of the center box and lined up my wood and hit start. So we're going to see how accurate this is. And I was very surprised to find out that it is 100% accurate. So if you take a look at this, you'll see that it is perfect. Perfectly aligned. And just to prove a point, we're going to go ahead and do this again without stopping the video. I'm going to grab another circle and I'm going to drop it into another square. And all I'm going to do is move the graphic in the software over to that square. And one thing that I did find out is that I was very surprised to find out that these numbers on the side matched the grid that I burned. And you can also download this grid on my forum if you want to. Now you see I'm not doing anything here, no framing whatsoever. All I'm doing now is moving the graphic over to that square. And then I'm just going to hit the start button, and we're going to see how accurate this grid is. And you can probably tell by now it is 100% accurate. Now you would think that this particular engraving was done on a hard stop template, but look at that. Look how perfect that is. I mean, that is just perfect. And if you're still not convinced, I'm going to put it into a third box without doing any framing whatsoever. I'm going to line it up in that third box, get it perfectly lined up with these lines. And I'm taking my time here because I want to make sure that it's in the right spot and I don't burn the cardboard like I did the first time. And again, all I'm doing now is moving the graphic. I'm snapping it into the box that's down on the lower right corner and hitting the start button, and that's it. Now all I did was load the original template that I used to burn this grid. And now I just snap my graphics into the center of the boxes in the template. And you can see there was no framing involved here at all. And I don't know why I keep bumping this table, but fortunately it didn't affect anything. So now you can see that's 3 times in a row, 3 different grids, 100% accuracy. And there you have it. I've done, a lot of cutting, a lot of engraving. You've seen some of the projects and some of the videos. What can I say? Do I like it? Yeah, I like it. Is it the best laser on the market? Probably not, but it will absolutely fulfill your needs. There's no question about that. If you're just looking to get a well-built, well-supported diode laser engraver that's not going to break the bank, say $500 or so. And, in that price range now, we used to be able to get these for $150 just a couple of years ago. But they've gotten so popular now, of course the price is going to go up. And the price on everything is going up. So would I buy it again? Yeah, I would buy it again. This is one of my preferred lasers. So I prefer this laser because, it has the air assist. I put the camera on. It works well. I didn't have any problems with it. Yeah, I would buy it again. If I were in the market again, I would definitely buy it again. Compared to the other lasers on the market, I don't know. I haven't done the comparisons yet. There are probably one or two others that might be better. We'll see. I mean, as they come in, I'm going to do these reviews, and then I'll be giving them away. So in my raffle. So we'll find out as time goes on. But would I recommend it? Sure, I do. I would, and I do. I recommend it to anybody, just like I recommended the first Laser Master and the Laser Master 2. I also recommend this one. It's a good, solid machine. It's a good, solid company, a young company of engineers that are trying to develop new things as they go. So, yeah, I would recommend it. And if you're in the market for a laser, this is definitely one that you might want to consider when you're doing your shopping. So, like I say, do your shopping. Check out the other lasers, check out the other reviews, and make your own decision. Because, you know, I'm not here to sell you this product. I'm just here to tell you what I thought of it. And I thought it was a good buy at that price point. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And as always, thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next one.